The Grand Master of Demonic Cultivation, written by Mo Xiang Tong Xiu. An unofficial reading by Emm Wilde. Book 1. Chapter 1. Reincarnation. Rejoice! Wei Wuxian is dead. It hadn't been a day since the siege of the burial mounds, and the news had already flown across the entire cultivation world as if it had sprouted wings. The speed was only comparable to how fast the flames of war had spread back then, if not faster. Suddenly everyone, whether they were prominent clans or rogue cultivators, was discussing this operation of vanquishment that had been led by the 4 great clans and attended by hundreds of sects both big and small. Fantastic! Fantastic indeed! Who was the hero who killed the Yiling Patriarch? Who else could it be? Ain't it his Shidi, the little sect leader Jiang? The 4 major clans fronted the attack. The Jiang clan of Yangmeng, the Jin clan of Lanling, the Lan clan of Guzu, and the Ni clan of Qinqi. Crushing family for the greater good, they destroyed Wei Wuxian's good old lair, the burial mounds. I must say, well done. Someone immediately clapped and exclaimed in agreement, That's right, well done. If it wasn't for the Jiang clan of Yangmeng, who took him in and raised him, then Wei Wuxian would be a no-named street rat in the countryside, never mind becoming anything else. The former Jiang sect leader raised him like his own son, eh? But look at him, publicly defecting from the clan, making himself an enemy of the world. He embarrassed the Jiang clan of Yangmeng utterly, and almost doomed them to the same fate of extermination. What do you call a traitor? Him. I can't believe that Zhengcheng allowed that guy to run amok for so long. If it were me, I wouldn't have just stabbed him when he first defected. I would have cleaned house. He wouldn't have had the chance to do all those crazy things. What does a childhood friendship mean when facing people like him? That's not what I heard, though. Didn't Wei Ying's demonic cultivation backfire, causing him to be ripped apart and devoured by the ghosts under his command? I heard that he was chewed to pieces while still alive. Now that's what you call karma. I've wanted to say this for a long time now, but those ghost generals he raised were like a pack of unleashed mad dogs, biting everyone, everywhere. And in the end, he got bit to death himself. Well deserved. Be that as it may, if the little Jiang sect leader hadn't been the one to plan the siege based on the Yiling's patriarch's weaknesses, then success would have been difficult to guarantee. Don't forget that Wei Wuxian had in his clutches the Yin Tiger Tally, or how over 3,000 renowned cultivators were all completely annihilated that night. Wasn't it 5,000? 3,000, 5,000, they're all the same. 5,000 seems more believable. He really is completely mad. He destroyed the Yin Tiger Tally before he died, so he gets at least some credit for that. But if that evil thing had been left to cause harm in the world, his sins would have only deepened. The moment the Yin Tiger Tally was mentioned, there was a sudden silence, as if everyone was wary of something. A moment later, someone sighed. Speaking of that Wei Wuxian, he used to be a young master in an incredibly affluent and distinguished cultivating sect back then. It wasn't like he had no accomplishments. He gained great success in his youth. How glorious and unbridled he was. How did he end up on this path? The subject changed, and the voices were once again raised in heated debate. It's obvious from this case that the path of cultivation must always follow the righteous way. The demonic path is only glorious for a moment. You think it looks so glamorous? Ha! Look what it got him. Death without a corpse, a voice replied forcibly. It's not all because of the cultivation path. At the end of the day, it's still because Wei Wuxian was someone of bad character. He aroused the wrath of the heavens and the grudges of men. You know what they say, what goes around comes around, and the heavens are watching. Everyone fell silent. After Wei Wuxian's death, judgment of his character was no longer refutable. The discussions were mostly the same, and any small voice of dissent was immediately squashed. However, gloom still firmly enveloped everyone's mind. Although the Yiling Patriarch, Wei Wuxian, had died at the burial mounds, the remnants of his soul couldn't be summoned. Perhaps his soul had been ripped apart and devoured by the millions of ghosts, or perhaps it had escaped. The former would naturally be a joyous occasion for the entire world. However, the Yiling patriarch had the ability to topple the earth and move mountains and seas, or at least that's what the legends said. It would be no great task for him to resist soul summoning if he desired it. If his spirit returned in the future, if he took over a body and was reincarnated, then the cultivation world, the entire mortal world, in fact, would be cursed to face a much greater vengeance, sinking into an endless storm of darkness and blood. And so, when the 120 stone beasts required to seal a mountain were set down at the peak of the burial mounds, every major clan began conducting frequent soul-summoning rituals. They also strictly monitored for cases of possession. They sought far and wide for abnormal occurrences and heightened their security to the max. In the first year, all was peaceful. And in the second year, all was peaceful. In the third year, all was peaceful. In the 13th year, all was still peaceful. Thus, more and more people finally came to believe that perhaps Wei Wuxian had not been that amazing after all. Maybe he really had perished. Even though he had once turned the world upside down, there had at last come a day when he was the one who was overturned. No one could be worshipped at the divine altar forever. Legends were merely legends. End of chapter 1.